You're adorable when you're confused.
But I didn't say you could touch me.
Chapter 1: The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Have you considered that maybe the only reason she's gonna end the world is because she's locked up?
While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her.
Silently continue to the cabin.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Proceed to the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it.
Enter the basement.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Alright, we're gonna do our job. Continue down the stairs.
Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
Steel your nerves and step forward.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this.
Slay the princess.
You lunge forward without a moment's hesitation. You feel flesh easily give way and look down to see your blade already sinking deep into her heart.
Oh. This is it, isn't it? I'm almost embarrassed. I should have seen that coming. But I have to wonder, do you actually believe this was enough to kill me?
It's like she's convinced she can't die. Yes, even as she lays there dying, she entirely believes herself to be alive and well. But it's over, isn't it? She stopped breathing moments ago, that arrogant look still plastered on her face. But is it over? Really over?
Of course not. That was way too easy.
It's over. Don't get all worked up. We should make sure. What's the harm in checking for a pulse? I really don't think you should do that. And why shouldn't we? Is there something you're not telling us? I've told you everything that's happened with complete accuracy. The princess is dead. Your blade pierced her heart. There's no coming back from that.
You're right. She's dead. Let's just get out of here.
Yes, exactly. It's over. With your work done, you make your way back up the stairs, closing the door to the basement behind you. Why do I feel like we've done something terrible? You did kill someone. Greater good or not, something would be very wrong with you if you didn't feel at least a little bad. But it was for the greater good. One of these days that will sink in and help ease your guilty conscience. But that day isn't today. Let's just get out of here. You open the cabin door, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom. Only a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is nothing at all. Where a lush forest stood mere minutes ago, the only thing in front of you now is the vast emptiness of some place far away. What happened? Everyone is fine. It's just that you and the cabin are now far away from them. Don't worry. You'll be safe here. This is good. Everyone is happy. You'll be happy.
I was kind of hoping I'd get a better ending for saving the world.
This isn't an ending. In fact, now that the princess has been slain, endings are a thing of the past. No. This is the beginning of eternity. Your reward.
A reward?
This is what's best for everyone. Trust me. Time passes. You can't be sure if it's days, or months, or years, or even decades. It's all a wonderful, boring blur. You've never been happier. Psst. Hey. We're not just gonna stay here forever, right?
Hell no. Do you have any idea how the heck to get us out of here?
I do, but you're probably not going to like it. The blade. We can use the blade to get out of this. I can hear everything you say, little voice. There's only one thing it would want you to use that blade on, and I'm afraid that thing is you, dear hero. He's right. It's the only way out. Do you hear that? It wants to take this happiness away from you. It wants this wonderful place to end. Do you not? There's more for us to do, and the only way for us to do it is to take that blade and use it. Don't you dare.
Anything to get us the hell out of here.
Thank you. I made this happy little place for you. Is this not a good enough reward for saving the world? An eternity of bliss? You ingrate?
It's not.
Fine. Whatever. For the first time since time stopped meaning anything, you throw open the door to the basement and walk down the stairs. The princess's body is dust and bones, though the blade you used to slay her is still as pristine as the day you first held it. You pick up the blade, you stab yourself, and you die.
Getting out of here.
The end. Nice knowing you.
Chapter 2. The Spectre.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Oh, you bastard. You're in for it now. I'm wise to your tricks.
My tricks? What on earth are you talking about? We've just met for the first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. That's fine. It wasn't very hard to kill her last time. We'll just do it again. Well, if for whatever reason you're going to insist that this has happened before, at least your heart's in the right place.
Alright. Let's assume I'm telling the truth, and all of this really did already happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I bother doing anything?
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. Oh, we listened to you plenty. We slew the princess just like you asked us to, and then you locked us away in an empty void for eternity.
It's true.
So we slew ourselves too. Well, if you killed yourself, then you weren't listening to me, because I would never want you to do that. Believe it or not, I care about you. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We slew the princess, the world outside the cabin disappeared, we died, and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? Had you failed to slay the princess, what would have happened to everyone in the place you left? It doesn't matter, because we didn't fail to slay her. And if she's really back, which I doubt, it'll be just as easy to do it again. But after that nasty trick you pulled on us, maybe she's not the only one around here in need of slaying.
Well, I'm down.
Just
cold.
stay focused, will you?
Proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. She won't be a problem. The interior of the cabin is cold, a soft odor of dirt permeating the air. Cobwebs flutter in the corners. You can hear wind whistling outside, banging the shutters against the windows. The only furniture of note is an elegant antique table with a pristine blade perched on the edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. It feels like no one's been here for a long, long time. Like I've been saying, she's dead. We killed her already.
Enter the basement.
The door to the basement groans open, revealing an old banister and a creaky wooden stairwell. Everything is coated in a thick layer of dust, and you can feel it settle into your lungs as you breathe in the stale air. The very building itself feels dead. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. The room below is silent. nobody's here. Naturally. As much as I appreciate the optimism, you shouldn't be so sure. I guess we'll just have to go down and see. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view. A skeletal body, lying in a heap on the floor, its wrist still bound to the wall by a thick chain.
Told you.
Okay, she's definitely dead. It's just like I told you. Before you have a chance to finish your thought, the top of a head appears from underneath the floor. Two deep-set eyes stare up at you, followed by a mischievous, skeletal grin. And finally, the rest of the body floats up to join the head. Wait, this isn't right. What's going on here? Ghost! Oh, wow. How absolutely terrifying. What's a ghost supposed to do to us?
Oh, it's you. Hiya, Killer. I was hoping to see you again. I have some issues with how our last meeting went.
The princess drifts across the room into your orbit, gently running her fingers across your shoulders and down your neck as she circles you.
She's kind of cute, though.
Her touch is cold and ethereal, formless yet real enough that her icy fingertips send shivers dancing across your skin. So she has a body, and she's right there. We could probably grab her and kill her again, if we wanted to. We don't even need a blade. She looks fragile enough to me.
Let's try. Grab her.
Before she can suspect a thing, you lunge forward and grab her arm. You feel substance for the briefest of moments, but then you feel nothing at all.
I knew it.
As though all you've done is clutch at empty air.
That's it,
You're
Cold.
adorable when you're confused.
The lieutenant said you could touch me.
Why are you even here? Just making sure you finish the job, or what?
I died too, and I'm not floating around like you are. What happened? Why am I different? Why are you different?
You don't look dead, Killer.
The princess grabs your wrist, a sudden shock of cold flowing all the way up your arm, her eyes still fixed on yours as you try to squirm out of her grip.
And you don't feel dead either.
She lets go and pulls away. Your fingertips tingle painfully as the chill subsides.
I'm less interested in why you are, or how you are, and a lot more interested in what you are.
Same.
I've tried to leave on my own. Before you came back to me, I explored every inch of this place, even the spaces between the walls. But I never found a way out. I always wound up right back here. I just want to go home. I'm so cold and alone here. But you can come and go as you please, can't you? So, let me hitch a ride.
After all, you own me.
Absolutely not. Is she asking if she can possess us? She is. And I hope I don't need to explain why you can't let that happen. It would be catastrophic if she managed to escape this place. And if you let her in, there is very little anyone could do to stop her. Would she be able to see us if we went along with it? Now, isn't that an interesting thought? We could finally bring her face to face with him. I wonder what she would have to say to the one who wants her dead so badly. You won't like how things play out if you go down this path.
What if I say no?
Then I won't hitch a ride.
That's it? Oh, okay. You won't hitch a ride if I say no? Or you can't hitch a ride if I say no?
I'm sure you'd like to know. It's a shame I won't tell you. But it'll be easier for both of us if you just let me in. And doesn't it sound nice?
Maybe for her, but it's crowded enough in here as is.
You won't have to feel guilty anymore. If you even do feel guilt.
It could be the best way to trap her for good. Doesn't seem like it would be very easy to end the world from inside someone else's body. That is a very dangerous train of thought.
The answer is no.
I see. So that's how it's going to be. That makes me sad. I guess we'll have to fight then.
Oh, God.
The princess passes through you, a chill rippling along your skin, a disappointed sigh echoing in your ears. You turn and face her as she hovers between you and the stairs.
Alright.
Spectral tears streak down her cheeks as she places a translucent hand on your chest. It feels cold, but otherwise like nothing at all. Are we doing the right thing? Why do I feel so sad? Don't let her get to you. It doesn't matter. Somehow, soon, this too will be over, and we'll move on to something new. I feel like you all keep forgetting that. Her dark-rimmed eyes fall to the floor as she speaks.
I never wanted to have to hurt anybody. It's not who I wanted to be.
The tears on her cheeks vanish. She lifts her head, sorrow replaced with wrath, staring into you with fiery anger.
She ain't
But I guess you've turned me into something worse.
Oh, no.
She forces her hand into your chest, and then... Yes? Nothing happens.
Oh. Oh.
Are you sure about that? Something should have happened. And yet it didn't. We're fine.
Okay, alright, alright. Step away.
You do your best to pull away, but it's as if her arm, embedded in your body, is rooting you in place.
Oh, no.
Leaving so soon.
You can't be sure if you first hear or feel what happens next, but it is over before you can fully conceptualize what it is.
What?
A horrific splintering, the squelching of organs, the rending of tissue, an icy, numbing pain.
I'm done asking. The next time I see you, I'm taking everything I owed. Starting with your body. If you won't choose to give me my freedom, I'll just have to make you give it to me.
She's real now. Pity we don't have a weapon. Your last moments are spent a helpless witness as she rips her hand from your chest, holding your still beating heart in her clenched fist. But that's ours.
That's a thing.
See you soon, killer.
She crushes it, blood and ruined vascular tissue leaking from between her fingers, dribbling unceremoniously to the floor. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 3. The Wraith.
You're on a path in the wood, and here we go again. Off to slay her. Again. The deck's stacked, isn't it? We kill her, we start again. She kills us as a goddamn ghost, we start again. I'm starting to think we're being run in circles just for the sake of it. Come on, let's not give in to all that misery just yet. There's got to be a way out of this. There's got to be a right answer. Yeah. And what if there isn't? Aren't you listening to me? What if all of this was rigged from the start? That's ridiculous. There'd be no point in all this if it was just some kind of cosmic busy work. I think that's exactly what it is. The powers that be seeing how many ways they can screw with us. Could be it's all some kind of sick joke to them. Wouldn't that get, I don't know, boring? Okay, so you've already been here. twice even. Great. Then let me poke a few holes in your depressing little theory. Nobody here is screwing with you, and I can't imagine any scenario where you would have started over after slaying the princess. Well, we didn't have to start over. We killed ourselves. And why, pray tell, did you do that? Because you decided to foist an infinite tedium on us. That doesn't sound like me. If I'd had everything my way, you would have effortlessly slain the princess, saved the world, and been given your happy ending. The ending was the tedium. You locked us in a cabin and sent that cabin to an endless void, and then you told us we were happy. Well, were you happy? Of course we weren't happy. That's why we killed ourselves. It was awful. It was boring. It was bullshit. So you killed yourself? Yes. And then she killed us. Even though she was already dead. This is all fake. Okay, let's try to get back on track. You're real. The princess is real. The world is real. The people in the world are real. And the danger she poses to all of them is also, quite unfortunately, real. Whatever you did the first time, it sounds like it almost worked. So how about you give it one last try? Because killing yourself seems to undo all the good you almost managed to accomplish. All this standing around and talking is boring. Let's at least do something. Maybe we'll kill her again. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll even free her.
I like Cold. Cold's gotta be my favorite. One of my favorites. And why should we help you? All you're gonna do is stick us away forever again.
Tell you what, I won't do that. I promise. Oh yeah, sure, that changes everything. I mean, he did promise. And you believed him?
What happens if we don't go to the cabin? There's another option.
Then she finds a way out on her own. Ugh, of course she does. So, standing around out here is the same as us letting her out. Only we don't have to see her. That's gotta be better, right? No, it's strictly worse. But she can't kill us out here. Why would staying out of killing distance be worse if she's getting out regardless? Because it's cowardly, for starters, and because the unknown is always worse than the known. But really, all you're doing right now is weighing two considerably bad options. The only solution worth considering is slaying her, and whatever delusion is holding you back from doing that is just that, a delusion. If you already managed to end her in some other world, the only reason you'd be here is that you somehow managed to do it wrong. More rules, more rhetoric. Since when is there a wrong way to slay her? I'm sick of it. Makes me want to end the world out of spite.
Proceed to the cabin.
You continue down the path towards the cabin. It isn't long before you're steps away from your destination. I don't think you need any words of warning. I think you know what's in there, and despite your protestations, I think you know what you need to do. The more he talks, the more I'm interested in setting her free. Whatever. You don't want to listen to me? Do it then. Let her out. See what I care. It sounds like somebody's about to crack.
Okay, I love cheated too. I like all of them, it seems. Are you trying to use reverse psychology on me? Or have you just given up?
There's obviously no point in trying to reason with you right now, especially with all these clowns offering up their useless advice. Honestly, it seems like the more I try and talk sense into you, the more single-minded they get about letting her out. So yes, I'm done trying to argue. Would you look at that? We won. Take it however you will. The interior of the cabin is long and dark, a single narrow hallway stretching far into the distance. Curtains billow out from tall windows on either side, obscuring the path forward, fluttering helplessly as opposing gusts of wind rush into the building, clashing and joining and driving everything forward. The only furniture of note is... that's strange. What's strange? Is it the mirror? The mirror? No, there isn't a mirror. What's strange is that there isn't much of anything in here at all, aside from the curtains. There's supposed to be a pristine blade. Why isn't there a pristine blade?
Oh no.
Great. Something else has been taken away from us. I suppose the only way to go is forward. So forward we will go. Blade or not, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Let's pretend there's a mirror at the end of the hall, and that right now, we can't see behind it. What's there? What's behind it?
If you're asking what's at the end of the hallway, it's the way to the basement.
Thank you.
The way to the basement? Don't you mean door? No, I didn't say door, because there isn't a door, it's just an opening. What are the odds she's waiting for us right behind it? If I were running a bullshit factory, it's what I'd do. Let me assure you that there's nothing there. Nothing is going to jump out at you, and certainly not the princess. The princess is in the basement. He can't see the mirror. The knife is gone, defying his expectations. Who the hell is calling the shots here? Nobody is calling the shots. That's how reality works.
Approach the mirror.
You slowly make your way towards the gaping maw that awaits you. Your fraying nerves buzz with trepidation, the chill wind raising your hackles as it gently pushes you forward, towards the darkness at the end of the hallway. You can't shake the feeling that you're being watched. We've always been watched. You're watching us right now. Sometimes the feeling is just stronger than others. I feel like you're trying to put us on edge. We don't need all this anticipation, we just need this to be over. You stop as you reach the end of the hallway, I presume in front of whatever mirror isn't actually there.
Wipe the mirror clean.
Here we go. You reach your arm forward into the pitch black of the opening. Nothing. It's like this place read our mind just to mess with us.
What you looking at, killer? Staring into the void? Thinking about what it'd be like to die again? I know exactly how you feel.
Shit, where is she? You feel something long and frigid coil around your ankle. Your heart skips a beat, standing in muted shock for one long, frozen moment. And then she, the princess, constricts. Your bones snap.
Oh, that's not good.
Icy pain radiates up from the break, a deep cold flooding your veins as your legs, numb with the shock of it, collapse, and you collapse with them. You're met with the terrifying visage of the princess. Her hand grips your leg in a steel vice, her grin carved jagged from ear to ear, crowded with far too many long and crooked teeth.
But do you know how I feel? I gave you a path to forgiveness. I gave you a chance to make things right.
Sorry.
I thought maybe you'd see what you've done and feel remorseful. Maybe try to make it up to me. But no, you'd rather use that knife to keep making the same mistake over and over and over. So, here's how this is going to go. I'm going to take your body, and I'm going to walk it out of here. And you get to watch me do it, completely helpless, just like you left me.
I say we let her do it. It's something different. Do we even have a choice? You always have a choice. Maybe before, but not now. There isn't a blade this time. Exactly. What choice is there if there isn't a blade? Well, unless you have any specific ideas, I think my vote's the only one that counts.
Look, we're even now. I killed you, and then you killed me. Water under the bridge, right?
And you think that's even? How adorable.
Oh, God.
But I think you forgot about the part where you tried killing me again. If I were you, I would just want to get it over with. You lost your chance to call the shots. There's no going back to fix it now. You can either look on in horror or celebrate my freedom. But either way, you're about to become a passenger.
I never wanted to hurt you. I didn't even know how I got here.
But you did hurt me. Twice even. And I'm not letting you do it again. Enough talking. We'll have plenty of time for chit-chat once this place is far behind us.
You remain pinned to the floor of the long hallway as the rest of the princess's body emerges. Her proportions all wrong, limbs bent and curling, moving in ways that defy your understanding. Her torso stretches until her face is practically touching yours, her neck cracking audibly as she twists to look at you from a fresh angle. Are you sure you can't do anything to help us? Can't you, like, manifest a rock right on top of her head? And crush you along with her? Not that I even can manifest a rock. Besides, I thought you all wanted to free the princess. Not like this. You don't even have a weapon, so I'm afraid you're out of luck, which unfortunately means that I, and the rest of the world, are out of luck too. And whose fault is it there isn't a weapon here? Yours, I assume. There's supposed to be a pristine blade. Whatever you did in those previous lives of yours, you really messed up.
Can we get her out of my
Are you
face?
seriously trying to blame this on us? Your vision fades as she tears open the membrane of your soul. You're awake, eyes once again fixed on the long hallway, your vision swimming as the princess's command reverberates inside your skull. Her voice is all-encompassing. You feel wrong. It's so cramped in here. Like there's some sort of growth trying to push us all out. I know. You rise to your feet, though the pain in your ankle is blinding. Your body slumps against the wall, desperately leaning into it for support. There's another option, you know.
Oh, and what's that?
Don't help either of them. Flip the table.
And how do you do that? You don't have a will to wield. Your soul is in drained of courage.
That gap where the mirror was, I don't think it goes anywhere. Let's throw ourselves into the abyss.
You wouldn't dare. Move now.
Your body, still slumped against the wall, trapped between the princess's overwhelming will and the blinding pain of your splintered ankle, takes an excruciating step towards the cabin door. The movement is stiff, your body reduced to a marionette, pulled reluctantly along by your strings.
It's not that bad. The pain feels good. Because I know you feel it too.
Leave the cabin.
You toss the last of your will aside and surrender to the princess. Shit. I guess that's that. An end is an end. Let's see what it has in store for us.
This is all I wanted. If there will be a mercy for you at the end of everything.
Your body inches along the corridor, every step more difficult and painful than the last. Your joints stiff and unresponsive, the shattered bones of your ankle grinding ceaselessly, as if they're fragmenting, then reforming, then snapping all over again as you make your way towards the outside world.
We're so close.
But despite the anguish, it doesn't feel like the exit to the cabin is getting any closer. If anything, It's getting further away.
It doesn't matter how long this hallway is. I will drag this body till it is a piece of meat and feathers. I will be free.
Please, just let her out.
Yes, let me out.
It's pointless, isn't it? I can't stop her without you, and you'd already given up by the time we met. No, screw that. The hallway gets even longer.
Narrator?
You cannot describe me into submission. The door is right there.
It really is, isn't it?
I walk to it. I place your bloody hand on the door. I make you twist the handle.
Isn't saying all of this his job?
He is gone.
Oh, he really is, isn't he? I had a feeling you could deal with him for us.
I did nothing. He dealt with himself.
This is it then. The big moment. I just hope it's a way out.
The handle clicks as we push forward. The air is different here.
But as you step outside the bounds of the cabin, you feel another violent tear, a rendering that cuts all the way down to your soul. You are once again separated from everything that had nestled in the deep crevices of your body, from everything that isn't you.
We're us again. How interesting. We actually won, didn't we?
What is happening to me?
But you don't answer her before something takes her and leaves something in her place. You feel a force underneath your feet once more.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
I don't know where she went, and I don't know how we'd even go about looking for her.
You're right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing. We just can't win. Don't bother looking for her. I'm sure it's just a waste of time.
Approach the mirror.
I'm begging you, don't do this.
The mirror never scared you before.
It's different now. It feels, I don't know, final. It's going to do something to us. I can feel it. Ignore the cowards. You have to look.
You approach the mirror.
This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final. It's going to do something to us. I can feel it. Ignore the cowards. You have to look.
The voices feel small, distant, as you approach. Gaze into your reflection. Silence as you reach forward, they're gone, but the mirror remains. It's time for you to see what's in it. It's you. You are alone in a place that is empty. It is quiet here. Proceed to the cabin. Approach her.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel.
Do we know each other?
You are familiar, but you are not me. I feel sadness, longing, hope as I witness you.
The gift of a fragile vessel?
Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. This one is loneliness turned to seething. She could not find her strength in others, so she found it in herself. She will make for a driven heart. Do not mourn her. She isn't alone anymore.
What happens now?
Nothing, as we are. But I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom.
Okay, make me forget.
She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
Everything goes dark, and you die. Chapter 1. The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Killing a princess seems kind of bad, though, doesn't it?
Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society.
Silently continue to the cabin.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Hi.
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Come on down.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
What? No way. Why would you even think that?
That giant knife you're holding kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
The blade. Of course she doesn't want to talk. Who'd want to have a conversation at knife point? We should drop it. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us.
Tighten your grip.
You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it.
I can.
So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this.
I'm not dropping the blade.
Then I'm not talking to you.
Squint at the princess while holding on to the blade.
You stare at the princess, squinting. She squints back. The two of you are gonna do this forever, aren't you?
Squint at the princess even harder.
You squint even harder. So does she. At least nobody's dying right now. You're going to have to make a choice. You can't keep squinting forever. Eventually, someone is going to have to blink.
Slay the princess.
Doubt, unfortunately, clouds your thoughts as you attempt to run her through. A moment of distraction and hesitation is all she needed to sidestep your thrust and deliver a catastrophic blow to your jaw.
She squinted better.
It feels like you've been hit with a sledgehammer. You can feel bone grinding on bone where your jaw has been fractured. Holy shit, that hurt! Though she's unarmed, the shock of that first strike is enough to stagger you, putting you and the princess on somewhat equal footing. Your blade slashes through the air again and again, and her fists connect with your body as many times or more, each impact as heavy as that first bone-crushing hit. We can still turn this around.
Oh. Finish the job.
You and the princess stare at each other, both gasping for breath, equally exhausted. You probably won't make it out of here alive, but you can at least make sure that she won't make it out of here either. Excuse me? Do you think this is what I wanted to happen? I have a duty to state the facts of the situation, and honestly, it's a miracle anyone is still standing right now. Can you not feel all those ruptured organs bouncing around in there? If the princess doesn't do our friend in herself, internal bleeding is certain to finish the job. The two of you clash for the final time. You feel your ribs break as she delivers a heavy blow, but you push through the pain, falling forward and sinking your blade deep into the princess's heart.
Oh.
Directed.
The two of you fall to the floor.
This was fun.
The princess gasps,
She had
her
fun?
voice an unhealthy rasp as her lungs start to fill with blood.
You put up more of a fight than I thought you would. But I have to wonder, do you really think this is the end?
But you don't have time to worry over such things. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 2, The Adversary.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
But I already slew the princess. Sure, she killed me, but I definitely got her. Why am I here again?
I can assure you that you didn't slay her, and that she didn't kill you. People don't just spring back to life after dying, and the two of us are meeting for the very first time. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. That's fine. It doesn't matter if he can hear us. The only thing that matters is marching up to that cabin and winning. That's the spirit. There's no point in squabbling when the real threat is just up that hill. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Lying and cheating doesn't sound like her at all. Not that it matters. It's not like she can lie or cheat in the middle of a fight.
Are you sure about that? The point of my warning wasn't to start an argument over what circumstances the princess is capable of lying in. It was to give you some broadly applicable advice. The princess will do and say whatever she thinks it will take to get her out of there, so don't trust her. Ever. Are we clear?
Crystal, let's just get on with it already.
The cabin is tighter than its exterior would suggest. Its cold stone walls press in on you, as if trying to forcefully direct you towards your destination. The only furniture of note is a black iron altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Enter the basement.
No knife this time. Right then, fisticuffs it is. Probably more fair to her anyway. Wouldn't want to feel like we cheated our way to a win. As long as you can still get the job done. And don't forget that the blade is waiting for you upstairs if you happen to change your mind. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a rough stone staircase, its walls pressing at your sides and tightening as you descend. The air seeping from below is heavy and oppressive, with an almost sulphuric odor to it. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her fierce voice carries up the stairs.
Is that another challenger? Finally. It's been ages since I've had a good fight.
This isn't what she sounded like last time. Her voice is a little deeper, almost threatening.
Good. Sounds like my kind of princess.
As much as I appreciate the enthusiasm, just make sure you don't let your bloodlust get to your head. You need to stay focused and keep your wits about you. Remember, you're here to slay the princess, not to have a good fight. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view, a large shackle leading from her wrist to the basement wall. Looks like she could rip those chains out of the wall without a second thought.
Oh, it's you again. I'd been hoping you'd find your way back here. Good to see that death doesn't stick for either of us. But no little knife this time, huh? Ugh, I hope you're not just here to chat. I've been itching for a rematch.
I haven't decided what I'm doing yet.
And why not? You decided what to do with me quickly enough last time. Are you scared I'm going to kill you again? Maybe you're worried I'll put you down for good this time. If you want to talk, I guess I can talk. But you should come a little closer first.
All right, fine. If you're not going to address it, I will. What? You've already met the princess has already met you. The two of you killed each other. Did you think you'd be able to just openly talk about all that without me noticing? Maybe. You did seem to just gloss over the whole thing for a while. Of course I glossed over it. When a colleague says something insane, glossing over it is one of the best ways to stay focused and keep moving forward. But enough is enough. I believe you. And that's all the more reason to take this seriously. You don't know that whatever brought the two of you back to life isn't a fluke. And beyond that, do you know who doesn't remember anything that happened last time? Me. I don't remember. Are you okay? Of course I'm not okay! As far as we're all concerned, the fate of my world is still very much on the line. Not all of us have the luxury of jumping over to a parallel universe the second we die.
Just because it bothers you, I'm gonna take this even less seriously. You don't know the depths of my empathy.
You're joking, right? I'm just going to pretend that you're joking.
Yeah, you better be joking. We can't win unless you take this seriously.
I actually am just here to chat.
Why? You didn't want to talk last time. Are you scared I'm going to kill you again?
Step closer.
You take a cautious step towards the princess, unarmed. I wish I could believe you know what you're doing, but you clearly don't. You stop a few feet short of her reach, her chains taut as she stares down at you. She's a lot bigger than I thought she was.
Why do you sound so scared? We can take her.
Well, what do you want? Because every second we waste talking is a second we could spend killing each other instead.
I'm not going to fight you.
What are you trying to do? Do you think pacifism is going to win her over? Because it won't.
You don't know. You don't know.
Right? This isn't fun. This isn't interesting. It's pathetic and cowardly and boring.
Is that so? Let's see if you still feel that way once I start beating you.
She's still bound by those chains. All we have to do is take a step back and she won't be able to do anything to us. All that does is put the two of you at another impasse. You can't stall forever.
Do you really think those chains will stop her? She's not the type to hand out empty threats. She's honest. It's what makes her so interesting.
But she has to be bluffing, right? If she isn't bluffing, then why is she still... You step back as she steps forward, her bindings creaking ominously. And then they snap. It was only a matter of time, but she's loose. Dear Lord, what do we do? Oh, if only there was some sort of weapon you could use to fight a world-ending monstrosity. I wonder where you might find one of those.
Exactly. Just do what I've been telling you to do since the second we got here. Take the blade, fight her, kill her, and win.
This doesn't change anything. Refuse to fight.
I suppose there isn't your numb body pew, is there? You stand your ground as the princess thunders across the basement floor, her shoulders tucked low as her fierce, unblinking gaze locks onto yours. You don't see the impact, and you can't say for sure if you even feel it, but you hear your bones splinter, and you can feel your feet leave the floor as you're hurled bodily into the unflinching stone wall.
We're fine.
Are we fine? Are we really? No, you're obviously not fine. Your body is broken.
Enough games. Go upstairs, pick up that knife, and fight me.
I can't get up.
Stop moping, you're fine. Now get up.
What are you made of? Tissue paper? I didn't hit you that hard.
You might as well just kill me, because you're not going to change my mind.
Is this a trick? Are you tricking me? Because why would you? Why wouldn't you? Ah!
The princess's shoulders tense with fury as she storms towards you. You can see her face flush, her knuckles going white as she clenches her fists, her entire body trembling with a burning rage.
Can't believe you're making me watch this.
Fine. If you want to die like a pathetic little worm, you can die like a pathetic little worm.
I guess I'll see you all next time. She reaches down and grabs you by the throat, lifting your limp form and slamming it forcefully against the wall. Her eyes twitch as her grip tightens around your neck. She sure is taking her time, isn't she?
Yeah.
Why? Why are you letting me do this? Why are you making me do this? Why won't you fight back?
Why is she getting angry? Because death doesn't matter anymore, does it? Fighting, not fighting. What does any of it mean if it all ends the same way?
It matters. I like fighting you.
Her grip hardens, and you feel a horrific pop in your neck. She releases you, your numb body crumpling to the stone floor as your vision starts to fade.
What am I supposed to do without you?
I guess I'll see you all next time. I can say that now, right? We're dead? Great. I can't wait to be stuck in this useless body all over again. I won't be seeing you, but I suppose something like me will. Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 3, The Fury.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path... Oh, I've heard this one before. Let me guess. There's a cabin and a princess, and you want us to get rid of her for you. But it's not gonna happen. At least not on my watch. Oh, you bloody fool. Am I the only one here who actually listened to her? She wants a fight. And we're not gonna give it to her. It's funnier if we don't. You think what happened last time was funny? I thought we were breaking a cycle of violence. I thought we were practicing pacifism in the face of mortal peril. I thought we were being brave. Heroic, even. We're a deep and multifaceted being. Who's to really say that your thing and my thing can't peacefully coexist? I'm just saying, doing it for a laugh takes away from the moment. It was a good moment.
It was.
Oh, will both of you just shut up? Make me rage, boy. Well, this is just great. Let me cut to the chase. Clearly, you've already been here. Yeah, you think? What does here even mean, though? You've told us about the path of the princess and all of that already, but this is a very different path than the last one. That's a good point. Everything here is a little off.
I wouldn't say a little.
Yes, precisely. And if you'd given me 2 seconds to finish my thought, I would have said that. Oh, you're actually letting me talk now. Great. If you've already been here, it means you've seen things you aren't supposed to have seen, and you know things that you aren't supposed to know. This doesn't look like a path in the woods if reality seems distorted. It's because reality is distorted. So you knew this could happen. You knew we'd be able to restart like this. I know all sorts of things, which is why you should listen to me. That's not really an answer. Look, if the world around you is changing, especially all the way out here, then that means you're nearing the point of no return. Whatever happens next, that's it. There won't be any more do-overs. So you'd better take things seriously.
You said yourself that you know more than you're letting on. If you want me to go to the cabin, then you'd better tell us everything.
I can't. Anything I say at this point is far more likely to accelerate the unraveling of this place than it is to actually help you do your job. In fact, I probably shouldn't have even said that. I trust that if you've been here before, it means you know how dangerous she is, and that you know I'm not lying to you about her. Really? That's it? That's all we're getting out of you? If he thinks reality is about to end, how about we just let it happen? Wouldn't that be interesting? I think that would be interesting.
Yeah?
Do you actually want to see the end of everything, or do you just not want to fight her? Bit of both. I get it. You're conflicted. You've been through a lot, but I really have to be firm here. I will tell you one thing, which is that even now you are capable of stopping her and saving the world from ruin. You always have been, and you always will be. Do with that what you will.
No matter what happens next, it seems like our answers are at the cabin. We might as well see this through. Proceed to the cabin.
Good, we're all on the same page. It isn't long before you find yourself at the end of the path, staring up at the cabin on the hill. You'll find the princess within, as I'm sure you already know. End her. That's it? No final words of advice? I'd rather not waste any more time. I'm sure that any advice I'd give at this point is something you've already heard. Don't be so hard on yourself. We all wind up in creative ruts now and then. I'm sure if you put your mind to it, you could think of something worth telling us.
Proceed into the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is a place that feels long forgotten. There was once an elegance to its construction, carved marble columns holding a high arched roof, vaulted windows letting in the weak starlight. But that is how it was. Now there is a growth that has overtaken it. A viscous fluid seeps from cracks in the stone walls, and it congeals into chaotic streaks of writhing nerves and wet clumps of living meat. That's horrible. I think it's kind of nice. Makes the room feel alive, doesn't it? The only furniture of note is a pulsating pedestal, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. We'll need it if we want to do things right. I say we leave it to rust. Let's not make the same mistake twice. We could have won if we had it last time. Take it.
How are we supposed to get to the basement when there's no door? There's just a mirror where the door used to be.
A mirror? There is no mirror. There's the pedestal, the blade sitting on the pedestal, and the door to the basement. Oh, are we playing a game where we lie to people about things? That sounds fun. I respect and admire all of you, and I'm so happy to be here. What? There's clearly a mirror. I don't know what to tell you. There isn't a mirror because I would know if there was a mirror. You're either seeing things or you're confused on the definitions of door and mirror. Or you're seeing things. That seems far more likely. What are you trying to say exactly? It means you're hallucinating. It's in our way. Let's just smash it.
Approach the mirror.
You step forward and approach the door to the basement, hesitating before you open it. As if you don't see it. You really don't, do you? How strange. It's a bit grimy. Why don't we wipe it clean? Wipe what clean? Are you still on about that mirror? It's not real. I'd know about it if it were real. No, we can't doubt our eyes like that. It has to be real. Does it matter if it's actually real or not? Talking about it gets under his skin. That's all that matters. We should talk about it even more. Let's just smash it and get it over with. I'm ready to get violent. We won't be able to see what's in there if we smash it. Do whatever you want with it. The mirror isn't real, so how you handle it doesn't matter, aside from wasting dangerous amounts of time.
Smash it.
You bring your fist crashing down against the door leading to the basement. As if on command, it slowly slides open, scraping against the stone floor, its ancient hinges moaning as it reveals the dim path ahead. Why am I not surprised? You step forward into the darkness. The stairs leading down to the basement are at once both narrow and grandiose. A high vaulted ceiling stretches up into a gloom beyond your sight, while walls wet with tumorous growths press in uncomfortably at your sides. You feel both unprotected and trapped, at once exposed and claustrophobic. The air is thick, its odor an oppressive violence, the metallic scent of fresh blood twisting with the nauseating embers of charred remains. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice, a bellowing rage, roars up the stairs.
So you've returned after denying me the salvation of combat? Are you here to gloat? Are you here to mock what I've become? Do you think that if you let me kill you enough times, I'll suddenly soften and repent for sins that live solely in your head? Well, we've tried that, haven't we? Now come down and see what your refusal has done to me. See how much you can bear to witness the consequences of your actions.
hear that? Oh, sounds like we got to her last time. Let's keep pushing, see what else we can make happen.
Continue down the stairs.
You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. The chamber's walls are painted in blood, a deep, sickening red that drips down in clotted streams onto the charred corpses that make up its floor. This place reeks of torment, of ripped skin and burning bone.
What is
The princess stands in its center, muscles flayed and bare and weeping, draped in a tattered dress of her own skin. Her heart beats from its place in her open chest.
Do you know what I'm going to do to you?
I have an idea.
There's not so much a moment of hesitation before she steps forward. Her chains pull taut, holding fast as she strains against them. The cuff around her wrist digs deeper into her skin. Blood drips from the place where metal meets flesh. And then, with a nauseating sound, the skin tears. It plops to the ground, and she pulls her red, glistening arm free from her bindings.
Oh.
She is loose, and she is coming for you.
Oh.
She wants us to be afraid because she wants us to think she can make us suffer. I'll give her the satisfaction. That's right, no fear. She's bigger than the last time, but she's pulling herself apart. She's practically done most of the work for us. We don't even have a weapon. It doesn't matter. I refuse to go out any way that isn't kicking and screaming.
I don't know what to do. What happened to you?
Time happened. You happened. But none of that matters. We're together again, and I'll have what you denied me.
She bounds across the room, her fists ready, her heart set upon your destruction. With a horrifying squelch, you are unwound.
What?
I hope you weren't planning on dying. We're going to make this last forever.
What?
Huh. I feel cold. I've never felt cold before.
Oh. Okay. I guess that was it. True to her word, you did not die by her hand, nor will you ever. It's time for you to leave. Memory returns.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her?
Huh.
And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now?
It's gonna be okay. Just trust me. We've been here before, and you always get scared.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. Yeah, don't look at it. I don't like that thing. Screw the mirror. We just need to find the princess.
Approach the mirror. You approach the mirror.
I don't like that silence.
The voices feel small, distant as you approach. Gaze into your reflection. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. Mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. You've grown. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. Proceed to the cabin. Approach her.
Flickering lights and empty cityscapes become pockets of vitality and movement. I am more than I was before. Whenever you are ready, I will wipe your slate clean once again.
What does it feel like to change like this?
Eyes close in reflection. Perspectives meld together, and the breadth of my experience stretches to new corners. There are contradictions, conflicts in my nature, and there are familiarities that bind everything together. It feels correct, This is what I need to be. This is the only path forward.
Do you have any thoughts on this vessel?
This one is desecration. She placed the weight of her agony on you, yet it is she who unwound herself. But there is passion and empathy in her misery. She will make for a burning heart. Do not mourn her. She has finally found peace.
What do you feel about me? These vessels I bring you. I've hurt them.
There is a hurt that dwells in them, but they are not me. They are thoughts and perspectives. They are feelings that inform my being. The wounds they've suffered carve texture around my heart. Without them, I would be as I was before. I cannot be as I was before. There are new spaces that I must fill.
I am ready to go back.
I await your return, but it will give me time to reflect on what I am. We will meet again.
Everything goes dark and you die. Chapter 1: The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Killing the princess seems kind of bad though, doesn't it?
Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society.
Silently continue to the cabin.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Hi.
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Come on down.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
I don't know yet. I haven't decided yet.
How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us.
Drop it.
The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you.
No problem.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
Yeah, it's, pretty awkward.
I know. I just said that. Now why are you here to kill me?
I'm not here to kill you. I've been told things, but I'm not sure what to believe.
Believe me.
And do you think asking me what to believe is going to suddenly make everything crystal clear?
Mm-hmm.
Let's not pretend that's going to happen. As far as you're concerned, and as far as they're concerned, I'm going to say whatever I have to get out of here. That's just the dynamic of our situation.
You're not making a strong case for yourself. I'm here because you're supposed to end the world.
Don't just tell her that.
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here a long time.
Just how long has she been down here?
If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous?
They have not. No. And if I'm being honest, I'm more inclined to trust you than inclined to trust them.
Sooner or later, you'll understand that I have your best interests at heart. Hopefully sooner.
How sweet. Now be a pal and help me get out of here, would you? We could figure out how to deal with them after I'm free.
Maybe. Examine the chains. I'll see what I can do.
You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
As most chains are.
I'm guessing you don't have the key.
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
I'm going to check upstairs. Maybe the key's still lying around somewhere up there. And if not, maybe I can find something to break you free.
I'll be here.
Yes, you will.
You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here?
Try the door.
You try the door, but it's locked from the outside.
Bastards.
You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd simply slain her like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
They did.
The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happens if you do that.
Save the princess.
Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the princess's arm, just above the massive, unyielding chain. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it. Before long, you're able to crack through bone, and she pulls the bleeding stub of her arm through the iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound.
She didn't.
Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
She's so cool, calm, and collected. Approach the locked door.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I just can't let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
Abuse of power, narrator. Warn her.
Stop that.
I thought this was a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back, but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it! Stop resisting me! I am trying to get you out of here alive.
Resist.
The blade. Move the blade.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes.
I am.
I'll make this quick.
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hands.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
Ooh.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease. Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground, blood flowing from your butchered neck. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was worth it.
See. Chapter 2, The Prisoner.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
I'm getting a terrible sense of deja vu.
A terrible sense of deja vu? No, you don't have that. This is the first time either of us have been here.
Don't gaslight me.
Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. I wouldn't trust a word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. We just have to keep trying. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is to the world at large? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago.
This is more than just deja vu, though. I'm pretty sure this whole thing already happened.
We could go back and forth on this forever, and it won't get you any closer to doing your job and saving the world. So let's just agree to disagree.
Let's assume I'm telling the truth, and all this did already happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I bother doing anything at all?
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. The absolute irony. Well, that's one way to put it, I guess. You really don't remember what happened last time, do you? You practically forced the princess to kill us. That doesn't sound like the sort of thing I'd do, which is honestly all the more reason for you to not buy into whatever self-delusions the three of you are crafting. But this is a thought experiment, so I suppose I'll continue to give you the benefit of the doubt. If I did practically force the princess to kill you, it was probably for a good reason. Did you try and free her? Did you say something really mean to me?
because if I really did what you said I did, you probably deserved it. I'm a professional, after all. Sure you are. Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced the princess to kill us and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? What a conveniently ambiguous group of things for her to ruin. For all we know, the princess left the cabin and never saw another soul. Oh, how I wish that were the case, but if the princess weren't a certain, inevitable threat to the world, the four of us wouldn't be here. And yet, here we are. You're talking in circles. No, I'm talking in facts.
Proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink. Did you just say wink out loud? No, I didn't. Wink. Just ignore this clown and focus on the princess.
Proceed into the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is less a cozy woodland retreat and more like a dungeon. A few pathetic wisps of starlight attempt to illuminate the cold, uninviting stone walls, and thick, wrought iron bars barricade the windows, reminding anyone who enters that this is a prison. The only furniture of note is an iron table, bolted to the floor, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Good idea. Much better to be armed than to go in with blind hope alone.
Enter the basement.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old stone staircase. A few sputtering torches attempt to vaguely illuminate your path, dancing across glimmering patches of slimy moss on the stone steps. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice, harsh but controlled, carries up the stairs.
Is that a visitor I hear? Please, come downstairs. It's been a while since I've had company.
Does she remember us? You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She looks up at you, the heavy collar around her neck clanking loudly as she moves. The chains binding both her wrists to the far wall, joining the metallic chorus as she adjusts her hands in her lap. So much for cutting her out of here. Do you hear yourself right now? Cutting her out of here never should have been on the table. Have you noticed the empty chain on the wall? Odd that in a place where everything seems to serve a distinct purpose, there would be something so obviously useless.
That's true.
That was there last time too, wasn't it? It was.
What an interesting development. Why don't you have a seat? The two of us should chat before you bury that thing in my heart.
Sit with her.
You step towards the princess, but she stops you before you get too close, holding up one shackled hand.
There's fine. I'd prefer we keep some distance until we've sorted this out.
Very diplomatic, this one.
That's reasonable. We do have a weapon. Might as well put her at ease.
Sit where you were told to sit.
You do as she asks and sit on the floor, still a good distance away from her.
Thank you. Now, what are your intentions for me?
I don't know yet. I've been here before. Am I the only one who remembers this?
Oh, are we acknowledging that? I thought we weren't going to give away the game. But yeah, I remember.
I guess what you said back in the woods really was true. As much as I would like to remain in denial, it's no use. This has complicated things. It's complicated things how, exactly? Ideally, this was supposed to be one and done. You go to the cabin, you heroically slay the princess, and in the process you save the entire world from being damned to oblivion. The situation right now, where you're getting a second shot at things, is a contingency. A contingency for what? For you failing, obviously. And you being here means that things are going to be a lot harder than they were. I really shouldn't say anything else, I'm just going to make it worse. Just good luck. Now hold on, if you knew this could happen, why didn't you believe us back in the woods? Why lay out all those hypotheticals? We didn't have to talk in circles. I needed you to believe this was your first time here, even if that wasn't the truth. I hoped if I pushed back hard enough I could cram this seeping mess back into the bottle. And maybe I wanted to be the first version of me that you met. I didn't want to be confronted by the alternative. That's pathetic. I never said I wasn't. I get it. It would be pretty upsetting, wouldn't it? To know that you might not be the first version of yourself. At least we can remember what happened before. Seems like we should count ourselves lucky for that. Exactly, he gets it. You're lucky, so don't waste that luck by messing it up again. Alright?
Oh.
Moving on. Why is it important for us to be ignorant? How is it ever helpful to be in the dark? The more I say, the more your mind will swim into dangerous waters. Even saying that is too much. Your success hinges on you having imperfect information. For the sake of the entire world, you need to accept that. I won't. Fine, but you won't get another word from me on the matter. Yeah, sure. We'll see about that. Just give it a rest, this isn't helping.
Focus. This is a serious situation. You shouldn't be daydreaming.
I was just gonna say, she's very patient while I talk to myself as I sit crisscross applesauce. You were asking about my intentions earlier. What did you mean by that?
Yes, your intentions. You have a knife. What are you going to do with it? Why are you here? There isn't a keyhole in these shackles, and I don't see any keys in your hands either. So I'm afraid my only way out is another surgical removal.
Is she forgetting about the shackle on her neck? Or does she think she'd survive a beheading? You're right. Maybe she's delusional. All the more reason not to trust her. Unless she really could survive.
Though I suppose you could just be here to kill me. But I don't think that's in either of our best interests.
How am I supposed to cut you out? If you didn't notice, your head is in a shackle too.
No. Like I trust you to come any closer with that knife. All you're going to do is hand it to me and watch me work.
But she would have to cut her head off, right? She can't be suggesting that. She certainly seems confident. Maybe she knows something we don't. Or maybe you should consider the most likely scenario. She's bluffing so she can disarm you. Though if she isn't bluffing, whatever she has planned might be for her benefit alone. There's no guarantee that what's good for her is good for us. So, What should we do?
I don't know. I'm just spelling out our options, listing the pros and cons.
Then let me help you. I'll start with the cons. If you're handing her your weapon, the cons are that she might use it to escape and end the entire world, and she might use it to kill you. That doesn't sound great. What about the pros? There are none.
The pros are that we can't trust him, possibly even more than we can't trust her. And whatever she has planned could do something to mess with what he has planned. Or maybe they're both screwing us over in their own ways.
I mean, if I just give it to her, she could cut herself out and kill her, and I don't have to do it. You realize that I have as much reason to distrust you as you have to distrust me, right?
I do. So I guess this all comes down to which of us caves first. And it's not going to be me.
I know that.
I'm extremely patient.
It's probably better if we take action anyway. No use trying to wait her out. That's playing to her strengths.
Okay, I'm trusting you. Give her the knife.
Slide it over.
No, absolutely not. I am not letting you hand your only weapon over to the world-ending princess. Until you come up with any other idea, like, say, I don't know, doing your job and slaying her, you remain rigidly in place.
You tried this last time. Do you want to know how it went for you?
Oh, I remember. She killed us, which, by your estimation, ended the world, right?
Oh, already tried to take over, buddy. Exactly. If I were you, I wouldn't be too keen on repeating your mistake. Hell, we could even force your hand and do it ourselves. I'm not afraid of dying again. Are you?
A little. I think you got your point across. Fine. You slide the blade across the floor. The princess maintains unsettling eye contact as she reaches down to pick it up.
What's gonna happen?
Thanks.
She pulls up her hair, smiling slightly as she raises the blade to her throat. What is she doing?
Is she doing a thing?
She doesn't say another word as she cuts into her own neck.
What?
No.
Watch in unease silence.
Her eyes stare forward, unblinking, as she saws through skin, veins, cartilage. At last she reaches bone, the blade grinding audibly against her vertebra as it continues to slice its way through her neck. I'll be damned. She's actually doing your job for you.
Yeah.
Why would she do that? Huh.
So that's her play.
Killing herself?
She isn't dead yet.
Finally, you hear a snap. Her eye twitches. There's an uneasy silence. She remains motionless for a long moment, her twitching eye the only movement in the room, until at last it stops in an unsettling half-wink. Her head twists slowly to the side, flopping to her shoulder, and her neck opens. The remaining tissue is not enough to hold the weight of her severed head. It stretches and tears until finally it falls to the floor, completely free. It bounces a few times before rolling to a stop at your feet. Oh no, oh no, oh no, what did we do? Can we put it back? Please tell me we can put it back. The princess's eyes stare up at you, dead. Congratulations! You saved the world.
I did.
Are you sure she's not winking at us?
Obviously not. She is thoroughly deceased. I hate this. Can we just get out of here now, please? Of course, the princess is slain and the world is saved. Whenever you're ready, you can proceed to your reward.
We should take her with us, don't you think?
Yes.
What? No, you shouldn't do that. Why would you do that?
I don't know.
I can think of lots of reasons. A trophy, proof of our victory. Hell, we could even give her a proper burial.
All
She
those
did
reasons.
save the world, right?
You don't need proof, you don't need a trophy, and she doesn't deserve a burial. Just leave. Even after all that, you're still not satisfied, are you? Something is still motivating you to keep things the way you want them. I'm just eager to put this all behind us and give you your reward. Stop reading into things, the danger has passed. You can relax. I'm just keeping myself sharp. I'm not so eager to put my guard down. I am. I'm on team, let's put this all behind us, so can we leave already?
Take the princess with you.
Ugh, fine. You pick up the princess's severed head, its neck stump still oozing bodily fluids. Then make your way back upstairs to the first floor of the cabin. Did you see that? I could have sworn she moved.
Looked like it.
She didn't. She's dead. But what if she's not? Are you listening to yourself? Do I need to explain to you why decapitation is lethal? The door to your bountiful reward is right in front of you. All you have to do is open it.
Leave the cabin and claim your reward.
You open the cabin door, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom. Only, a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is... Wait, no, that's not right.
Well played.
What?
This is the end of the world, isn't it? I always thought I'd at least have time to explain myself before I had to watch it happen. It's already...
Not what I was expecting.
Over? Is he gone? But we're still here. Maybe it wasn't the end of the world after all. Maybe it was just the end of his.
Thanks for carrying me up here. I had to take it on faith that you would know what to do. I'm glad I was right to trust you. So, this is the outside. Maybe it's just my lack of body, but it's colder than I expected.
But you do not get a chance to respond, nor will you ever. It's time to leave, and memory returns.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now?
Approach the mirror.
This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final. You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back. Fear.
The voices feel small, distant as you approach. Gaze into your reflection. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. You've withered. You find yourself in the long quiet once again.
I am a growing chorus of contradiction, a mass of tides ebbing and flowing all at once in more directions than my attention can bear to hold. To look at any one is to shift them all into something new, and to look away is to reshape them yet again. All of me is changing, and yet the rest of me is still the same.
What do you think of this vessel?
This one is cold and cynical. She has protected herself when others could not. She will make for a clever heart. Do not mourn her. She doesn't need to be protected any longer.
I'm ready to go back.
I will be here when it is time for us to meet again.
Everything goes dark and you die. Chapter 1. The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Have you considered that maybe the only reason she's gonna end the world is because she's locked up?
While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her.
Okay. Silently continue to the cabin.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Proceed into the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here.
Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Just checking in on you.
Oh, it's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement.
She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world?
Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
What? No way. Why would you even think that?
That giant knife you're holding kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
The blade. Of course she doesn't want to talk. Who'd want to have a conversation at knife point? We should drop it.
Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us.
Tighten your grip.
You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it.
True.
So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this.
Slay the princess.
Doubt, unfortunately, clouds your thoughts as you attempt to run her through. A moment of distraction and hesitation is all she needed to sidestep your thrust and deliver a catastrophic blow to your jaw. It feels like you've been hit with a sledgehammer. You can feel bone grinding on bone where your jaw has been fractured. Holy shit, that hurt! Though she's unarmed, the shock of that first strike is enough to stagger you, putting you and the princess on somewhat equal footing. Your blade slashes through the air again and again, and her fists connect with your body as many times or more, each impact as heavy as that first bone-crushing hit. We can still turn this around.
Give up.
Are you serious? As internal bleeding sets in, the blade falls from your trembling hands, clattering to the ground uselessly. You lacked the will to finish the job, your bruised and broken body falling to its knees before her. The princess, exhausted, chest heaving with heavy breaths, tosses the blade away from you. This is the end, isn't it?
Is this really the best you could do? Look at you. Completely broken. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed.
She plants her foot on your chest and pushes you onto your back, the air leaving your lungs in a heavy puff. And then she brings her knee to your throat. She leans into it with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess, shattering your windpipe and leaving you starved for breath.
It's too bad. I was looking forward to some company.
Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 2. The Tower.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Okay, no.
Oh, don't you start grandstanding about morals. The fate of the world is at risk right now, and the life of a mere princess shouldn't stop you from saving us all.
Whatever.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. What does it matter what he knows? There's nothing we can do to stop her. She's just going to kill us again. She is not going to kill you unless you let her, but slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself.
Proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We might as well just pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower us. Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge? I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic. You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. I agree. If she's wrongfully imprisoned, then we should rescue her, but if he's telling the truth, we shouldn't just hand her the world on a silver platter.
That's true.
Rescue her? Given the stakes of the situation, there isn't really a difference between rescuing her and pledging yourself to her. Either would be terrible.
That's true as well.
So please try to ignore both of those knuckleheads and focus on saving the world. Let's not make this harder than it has to be.
Proceed into the cabin.
If that's what you want, I guess I don't have a say here. The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive marble altar with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Why do we feel so small? We don't feel small. We are small.
Take the blade.
You take the blade from the altar. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase. Its steps almost as deep as you are tall. The smell of incense drifts up from below. For a moment, you almost feel at ease.
Oh, I only get a moment?
This is actually kind of nice. It's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her booming voice rolls up the stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming. She wasn't like this last time. We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there. It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess.
Continue down the stairs.
Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond.
So we are really small.
The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to the far wall. The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. You brought that knife again, even though you know it's useless. Such charming audacity. Drop it.
No. Tighten your grip.
As if on command, the blade slips from your grasp. It clatters uselessly to the floor. But we didn't drop it. We decided to grip it tighter, remember?
Yeah.
Are you really just going to let that happen to us? I have a duty to report facts as facts, and the fact is that you dropped the blade.
But I didn't.
Of course we dropped it. She's so much more than us. You wouldn't understand what it feels like to be in her presence. Oh, I understand what's going on, and you'd better snap yourself out of it.
Kneel.
No.
Oh, are you still trying to defy me? I said kneel.
Your legs buckle, and your knees hit the floor.
Oh boy.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you tried to kill me. And here you are again, trying to succeed where you've already catastrophically failed. What draws you back here beyond the empty halls of death? Speak.
The last time we met? I suppose that lends credence to our conversation in the woods.
Still, whatever you do, don't tell her why you're here. It's best not to give her any ideas.
Remain silent.
Do you think holding shut your beak is enough to stop me from prying it open? Do you think your skull can save your thoughts from being seen? You're less broken than I thought. Perhaps you need another lesson in submitting to your betters. Pick up that needle.
Do it. It's what she wants. No objections here. I don't know what she's planning, and I don't like that we don't know what she's planning, but we might as well pick up the blade. As your eye falls on the blade, you feel a weight. Some divine hand that sits unperceived by your senses, but that manages to push you towards its desires like an unseen puppeteer.
Pick up the blade.
You reach forward and grasp the blade.
Stand.
This one's easy. See? This isn't so bad. Okay, yeah. We can do that. We were probably going to stand anyway.
Stand.
You can feel a creaking tension between body and will as you slowly rise to your feet, like two foes forced into an unhappy truce. The princess eyes you with soft contemplation. The moment seems to last a lifetime, the silent anticipation of what's to come dragging out the long, painful seconds. But all silences are broken eventually.
To define me is to claim we stand on level ground. We do not. You are quiet shadow, while I am brilliant radiance. Take that knife in your hand and slit your throat.
Do I have a choice?
You don't have to listen to her. You're armed. Just steel your nerves, step forward, and end this.
End this.
Oh, we'll end this all right.
Broken what?
Your hand lifts the blade and brings it towards your throat. Okay, I apologize for the unclear language. End her.
Slay yourself.
No, you can't just slay yourself. You're perfectly healthy and capable, and all you have to do is ignore her and do what has to be done. The blade and the hand that wields it remain firmly locked in place until you change your mind and decide to do literally anything else.
Look at you quaking against my will. An ant defying a god. It's pointless to resist. In the end, everything submits to oblivion. But you're not the one resisting me, are you? There's something else in there. Is that a person? No, it used to be a person. It's something different now. An echo.
Is she talking about you? That's impossible. She's not supposed to be able to interact with me.
You're a small one, aren't you? A shriveling little worm stretched beyond its limits, trying to control things that it can't understand.
No. What are you talking about?
I don't care what you are. You're mine.
Mommy, Daddy are fighting.
You bring the blade to your neck. You slice through soft flesh, severing veins and arteries, your blood flowing freely down your body. It's a painful lesson in obedience, but the pain won't last forever. No.
When I see you again, you'll free me from my chains and deliver me to the destiny that lies beyond this place.
We will. I promise.
I know you will.
Everything goes dark, and you die.
I don't like that double talk. Chapter 3, The Apotheosis.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path... Oh, let me guess. At the end of that path is a cabin. Excuse me? This is the third time we've been here, and this is hardly a path in the woods. It's all big and weird. Another witness to her radiance. Her hour is soon upon us. I'm here to keep him in check. I'm sick of prying fingers digging around in our head, and he's making it all too easy for them to get in. This is bad. Oh, is it now? I hadn't noticed. Do you need a primer, Mr. Amnesiac? No, I'm quite all right, but if all of you would take a moment to settle down, there's something important I'd like to get across to you before it's too late. Is it about the princess? We already know all about the princess. Not to be trusted, that one. No, I mean, yes, it's about the princess, but whatever you think I'm going to say, it's probably not that. You're not to be trusted either. Look, fine, just out with it already, yeah? But if I hear the words, "You're here to slay her," or "If you don't, it will be the end of the world," you've lost speaking privileges. You two are just wasting your time. It's all going to end when we open that cabin door, which means it's already all over. What's the point of dawdling when the end is already written? Okay, that nonsense he's going on about, that's what we need to talk about. You've been here before, obviously. So you have met us. Because boy, were you in denial about that last time. No, I haven't met you, but reality is clearly falling apart at the moment, and the only reason that would happen is if you knew things you weren't supposed to know. What the hell are you talking about? He's talking about those weird marble trees and how wrong everything looks. Yes, exactly. Whatever you did before gave her far too much power. So you've got to cut it out, get to that cabin and slay her before things get any more out of hand. We've built a new god, and she is limitless. What are our thoughts doing that? Make her small, make her small, make her small, make her small. Shit! What if I'm doing it wrong? What if I'm making her even stronger? Do you hear those two, with their runaway thoughts? I'm only giving you the sliver of information I'm giving you now because things are already deep in the shitter. This was my last card to play, and it looks like it's already made things worse. So hurry, cabin, now.
Run away.
But a great and horrible change is already underway. The ground quakes beneath your feet, and you feel an unyielding force pulling at you and your surroundings. The trees start to sway, then crumble, breaking apart as everything is drawn towards the cabin. Even the earth beneath you seems to shift, your feet unable to grip solid ground as you're dragged forward along with everything else. The end of everything. The beginning of something new. The moment we open that door, she will be free. Stop believing everything you hear. We just have to get our thoughts in order. We just have to think straight. Any,
Yes.
words of warning? You already know everything you need to know.
Proceed into the cabin.
As you step forward, the cabin explodes. You're flung backwards, violently slamming into a tree as debris rains down around you.
Oh, my. Oh, that's not good.
You watch in paralyzed awe and terror as the princess emerges, her body unfurling from some vast space as she stands upright to face you. The world bows to her. The ruined landscape shifts, trees and stone and the ground itself succumbing to her gravity, orbiting her like a great black hole.
Finally, the little bird has set me free. This is always how it was going to end. And this is always how it was going to begin.
There's a loud thunk from the tree behind you as something embeds in its shattered bark. your pristine blade. It's now or never.
So, I think we should have killed the princess. Take the blade.
Yeah, screw all of this, I'm with you. A real god would need us as part of her plan. You'll never make it to her. And even if you do, what could you possibly hope to accomplish? We'll do what we were always supposed to. We'll take this blade and we'll sink it into her heart. Look at the way everything's being flung around her. If we just throw ourselves in her direction... I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe none of this is real. Maybe we can do whatever we want to do. With a forceful tug, you yank the blade out from the tree. You close your eyes and take a deep breath, and for a moment you can feel everything around you, like you're a part of everything, and everything is a part of you. And then your eyes open, settling on your target. It's time.
Slay the princess.
You launch yourself towards the princess. You can feel her gravity envelop you, carrying you from the ground into the violent swirl of her orbit.
Alright.
Even now you defy me. Do it then. Show me what you think it takes to end what's destined to end everything.
Okay.
Yeah, do it. Show her.
End this.
Why do I feel so cold?
You do not get a chance to slay her, nor will you ever. It's time to leave. Memory returns.
Oh, where did she go? She's gone. Is this the end of the world? Did she end herself? And is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now?
It's gonna be okay. Just trust me. We've been here before. You always get scared.
But it feels so bad. Like looking into it right now is going to be the end of everything. It's calling us. And not in a good way. I don't want to look at us.
I'll see you on the other side. It's gonna be okay.
Okay. If you say so. Will we trust you? A mercy.
You approach the mirror. Gaze into your reflection. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. You've unraveled. You find yourself in the long quiet once again. You are at the cabin. Look, it's just a big head. Approach her.
There's a world beyond the endless walls of the long quiet. I am curious to see what it means for us to know it.
Do you have thoughts on this vessel?
This one is Dominance, a figure capable of bending everything to her will. She will make for a terrifying and divine heart. Do not mourn her, for she would not be able to mourn you.
How many more vessels do I need to bring you?
One. Whatever you bring me next will be enough, and then gravity will pull the others back to me. I will be singular, a final multitude.
I'm ready to go back.
The next time I see you, each of us will finally know what we are. I will be here, waiting for you.
Everything goes dark and you die. Chapter 1. The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Can't someone else do this?
Unfortunately, you're the only one who can pull this off. I don't make the rules. I wish I did, but I don't.
Silently continue to the cabin.
You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them.
Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Proceed into the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Enter the basement.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
Just checking in on you.
You are? It's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains?
Hold on. Let's talk first.
Okay.
I don't know anything about you. For all I know, you're locked up down here for a reason.
Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but you don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation.
Oh,
right?
Okay. Yeah.
You have all the explanation you need, and you should know better than to trust whatever she comes up with.
Alright, if I'm the first person you've seen in a while, what have you been eating? What have you been drinking?
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant. Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
Right, thank you. Yes. I'm sorry, but I can't trust you. This doesn't add up, and it isn't worth the risk taking your word over the potential fate of the world.
Thank you. You turn back to the stairs, intent on retrieving the blade in the cabin.
So, what? You're going to try and kill me? You'll regret this. I promise you. But go ahead, run along and get whatever you're planning to get. But you'd better hope that I don't slip these chains before you make it back down here.
Alright.
Slip these chains? She can't, right? She needed our help to get out of here. But do you hear the conviction in her voice? I don't think she's bluffing. She has to be bluffing, but hurry. You rush up to the first floor, grabbing the blade, both yours and the world's only possible salvation. Okay, if we're sure about this decision, I'll support it. I suppose we have a world to save after all. You slowly creep down the basement stairs. It's quiet. Where the princess sat only a moment ago, there's only a severed arm, its cooling flesh still chained to the wall, and she is nowhere to be seen. Is it just me, or did this room get a lot bigger?
Let's finish this.
Your eyes dart to the corners of the room. You don't see her. Where is she?
Close the door behind you.
You close the door behind you. Almost magically, its locks immediately click into place. Maybe they'll open if you finish the job.
Come on out. Let's get this over with.
I can wait. I'm very patient.
Wait.
You do your best to patiently wait her out. But eventually, exhaustion starts to set in.
Oh no.
Come on, wake up. We can't fall asleep down here.
Venture into the shadows.
You step into the shadows. Too late, you hear the quiet patter of feet against the basement floor, followed by the taut pull and sharp pain of tearing flesh as the princess lunges into you from behind and drags you to the floor. The ferocity overwhelms you, and as the princess rends flesh from bone, your limp fingers lose their grip on the blade. It slips from your hand, your one last means of defense, lying useless beside you in a pool of your cooling blood. I suppose you just lacked the will to fight back. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you.
I didn't.
Everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 2. The Beast.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
She's gonna kill me again?
Again? People don't die twice. You haven't even met the princess, and I hardly think she'd be capable of killing someone as skilled and courageous as yourself. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. If he doesn't remember what happened, then something else must have trapped us here. You're not trapped here. Nobody's forcing you to do anything, though the only sensible thing for you to do right now is march up to that cabin and slay the princess.
Let's assume I'm telling the truth, and all this really did already happen. Why should I listen to you? Why should I bother doing anything?
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me.
Maybe.
We did our best with the information we were given. And yet you still died, didn't you? So, great, congratulations, you've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We were killed by the princess and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? All the more reason to keep our wits about us, should we even return to the cabin. We could find a safe little hole somewhere instead. You have to go to the cabin. If you don't slay the princess, she's going to end the world, which you're always going to be a part of, even if you're cowering in a hole. There's no escaping your responsibility here.
Okay, alright, fine. Proceed to the cabin.
A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Does a cat lie to a cornered mouse when it plays with its freedom? Or is it just acting out its nature? I don't see why that matters. A lie's a lie, and if anything, she's the one who's cornered. She could have gotten out of there whenever she wanted to. We should trust nothing that she tells us, only what we hear and smell. That's a very roundabout way of saying that you should listen to me and take this seriously. Maybe.
Proceed into the cabin.
The interior of the cabin is ruinous and dilapidated. It feels like no one has lived here for a long time, wind rushing in through cracks and holes in the wooden walls. The only furniture of note is a termite-eaten table with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
She proved pretty capable of taking care of herself, so take the blade.
You take the blade from the table. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
Enter the basement.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing what's left of an old wooden staircase. It's still sturdy enough that you can make your way down in one piece, though you'll have to be mindful of holes. The air seeping up from below is oddly warm and wet, as if you're descending into a jungle. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. She growls up the stairs.
I can smell you.
She sounds almost feral, impatient, or maybe eager. You carefully make your way down the stairs. The last step gives way to the damp earth floor of a starlit pit. The walls are obscured by an impenetrable darkness, giving the illusion that the room might stretch on forever. You brush against the wide leaves of plants that surround you on all sides, seemingly the only living things that occupy this strange underground wilderness. The jungle is pressing in on us, hiding her from view. She could be anywhere. You see only a flash of the princess before she scurries away into the underbrush, dragging her heavy chain behind her. Remember, she's just a princess. She's certainly not just a princess. You're not helping. It doesn't matter what she is. It only matters what she does. Her shining eyes appear between the leaves, staring hungrily at you from the darkness.
I can hear your heart pounding from the bottom of the stairs, fledgling. You're right to be terrified. I'm so much more than you. And a little splinter clutched in trembling hands won't save you from me.
A shiver rushes up your spine and pulls you upright. The air's shifting. She's getting ready to pounce. Move, now.
Move.
aside, picking a direction on instinct. As you land, you're buffeted by a gust of air, disturbed by the sudden motion of a massive body. The princess. In an instant, she's pounced on the spot where you would have been, her chains rattling across the floor behind her. Before you can blink, she's gone, vanishing once more into the shadows. But you still feel her gaze on you.
Yeah.
You're faster than you were before, but you're still meek, reactive, prey.
Let's get aggressive.
You whirl around to find her, and your gaze meets hers, a pair of shining eyes peering out at you from just beyond the basement stairs. So she's cut off our escape. Shit. What do we do?
Stop hiding and show yourself.
If you want to see me, you should get better at seeing.
Ugh.
She knows that her strength lies in shadows and secrets. She won't reveal herself unless she has to.
You're deflecting.
And you bear your weakness to the world.
She's coiling for another strike. Be somewhere else. We're on the back foot. The back foot keeps us nimble, keeps us alive. It doesn't matter if it keeps us alive if it eventually kills us. We need to take back the momentum. We need to do something.
Wait for her to strike and hit her back.
This isn't going to work. We're in her domain. We just have to stay alive. If we keep dodging her forever, we're going to get tired. We're going to slip up. We have to take a risk.
I agree with Hero.
As the princess lunges from the shadows once more, you tighten her before the blade will lash out. It strikes, cutting deep, and the princess loses her focus, crying out in pained surprise as she crashes into you.
Nice.
You're sent sprawling, and can already feel the massive bruise blossoming on your ribs as she scrambles back into the darkness. Ha! Look at that! We wounded her. And she wounded us. Bad trade.
That
Yeah.
hurt. Are you just the cornered animal you seem to be? Or could you be a rival?
She rears back, then leaps at you, more forceful, more ferocious, more serious. The scuffle is brief, and though you inflict a few deep wounds, you find yourself quickly overwhelmed by her savagery. You collapse to the floor, and she wastes no time before pouncing on you in a flurry of claws and blood, your nerves barely able to keep up with the onslaught. By the end, you're lying in a nest of your own intestines, spine severed, blood rapidly draining out onto the jungle floor.
I didn't do very
The
good.
princess, drenched in both her blood and yours, idly prods your body.
No, that's it then. Cornered animal it was. Do better next time. I still need to devour you. And it doesn't count if you're dead.
Well, we're not dead, But you don't have time to protest her premature observation of your death, because everything goes dark, and you die.
Chapter 3, The Den.
You're on a path in the
Yeah, we are. And this time we're not gonna run until we die. We're taking her head on and we're winning.
You felt her. She didn't have a soft underbelly. She didn't have blind spots. What could we have done that would have saved us from her hunger?
When someone tries to make you dead, you have to hit them back. You have to show them your authority. There's nothing worse than a bully that thinks they own you.
Great. So you've been here before. That doesn't bode well. You're not supposed to have been here before. This is supposed to be one and done.
Oh, shut up. It bodes fine. You're the reason we're stuck in this shit situation. Now I have to do the hard work of dragging us out.
And how do you intend to do that?
We're going to fight her, and we're going to win. There's a reason she slinks around in the shadows.
Well, no complaints here. Now hold on. We're not just gonna let the fact that he knows things about this whole Lupin situation go, are we?
He's not important. He can have his secrets for all I care. She's killed us twice now, and that's enough of a reason for us to want her dead.
I like stubborn. We're going with stubborn. Okay, what's the plan?
Like I said, we're going to fight her.
That's
But
not
we're
a plan.
So small.
We don't actually know how big she is. We just know she wants us to think she's big. And if she's going to treat us like prey again, then she is sorely underestimating us. One good wallop, that's all we need to put her on the defensive.
Alright. The path is different than it was before.
Ground is ground. It doesn't matter what shape it takes. We'll adapt.
If it looks different, that's because the situation has started to spiral out of everyone's control. So please, disavow yourself of the notion that you can just come back here and fix this place if you manage to make a mess before that line of thinking leaves you yet another world in ruin. Though, as evidenced by you dying twice, it's safe to assume the fates of the worlds you've left behind don't concern you very much.
Nope.
Consider this your last opportunity to make things right. For you and for the rest of existence. But especially for you.
We don't need your pep talk. I'll make sure we pull this off.
I'm following stubborn, man. Silently proceed to the cabin.
You make your way down to the cabin. Your fated confrontation awaits. You know what to do.
We've already been over the plan.
I'm not sure that use violence counts as a plan.
It's a better plan than you had last time.
I don't like this, but I'll try to keep us breathing.
Proceed into the cabin.
The interior is dark and overgrown. Vines and brush obscure so much of the place that, had you not seen the exterior, you might not have noticed this was a cabin at all. The only furniture of note, if you could call it that, is a knotted stump, a pristine blade embedded in its exposed rings. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you're going to do this right.
Take it. We're not fighting a monster without a blade. Even if it's not a very big one.
Is no one going to mention the mirror? What are you talking about? There is no mirror. It's just the stump and a narrow tunnel that leads to the basement.
He isn't tricking us. Can you feel the wind? It's telling us there's a hole in that wall. Our eyes deceive us.
If that mirror's blocking our way, just smash it and be done with it.
Take the blade.
Yes, take the steel claw.
You pull the blade from the stump, gripping it tight. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon.
Good. One step closer to ending this.
Approach the mirror.
You step forward, approaching the small hole that leads to the basement, hesitating before you enter the princess's lair.
You heard him. Stop hesitating and smash that antique.
That mirror isn't part of this place. It's seeped through from somewhere else.
It, if there even is an it, is a hallucination. Like you said, you've been here twice before. Your mind was bound to start playing tricks on you eventually. It's so grimy. Maybe we can wipe it clean and finally get a look at ourselves.
Smash it.
You bring your fist crashing down into the open hole leading to the basement, throwing yourself off balance and tumbling headlong into the pitch black.
Oh no.
If there were once stairs leading into the basement, there is nothing left to attest to their existence now. There is only a long tunnel of packed earth, growing more narrow as you descend. It smells of mold and decay. The damp walls leave streaks of dirt along your body as you're forced to hunch, then finally squat down on all fours in order to continue. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor.
That'll never not be fun.
As you crawl forward on hands and knees, you're met only with the sounds of ambient earth. No voice slinks confidently up the stairs, no entity threatens violence or pleads for safety. Stay quiet. Don't give her a sound.
Alright, okay. Say nothing. and silently proceed down the stairs.
You say nothing, maintaining the silence as you carefully make your way down into the basement. The basement is dark and cavernous, a gaping maw threatening to swallow you whole. There is no light here, save for what little starlight has managed to filter down the tunnel. And though you can't see the vastness of the space, you can feel it. You're exposed. It doesn't matter if we can't see down here. We know where she is.
Step into the shadows, ready to fight.
You step into the shadows and are enveloped in total darkness. Your heart pounds in your chest, ears pricked, eyes wide despite the inky blackness, waiting for any sign of movement. There, she's about to strike. With the near silence of a determined predator, the princess erupts from the shadows.
What?
Swinging your blade, its tip intercepting her before she can draw first blood. She recoils, stunned for a brief moment. See, I told you. We needed to assert our might. We needed to prove to her that she can bleed too. She'll doubt her every move now. Engaging with even more ferocity than before. But that voice in your head wasn't wrong. Within that ferocity, there is also hesitation.
Okay.
Not much, but enough.
Alright.
Not a word is spoken between you and the princess as you exchange blows in the dark. The glint of bloody claws and fangs, the flash of wet steel. In the pit, all of your senses are heightened, each injury stinging like a chorus of insects, each small shift in your favor a major victory that swells your heart. And then it all reaches a climax. And...
But he doesn't respond. Eyes glance at you from the untextured threads of a world unraveled. Am I free? They ask. But you do not get a chance to respond, nor will you ever. It is time to leave. Memory returns.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And is that a mirror? Why is it here? Why now?
Approach the mirror.
This doesn't feel right. It feels different. Final. That thing reeks of death.
Screw the mirror, we just need to find the princess!
The voices feel small, distant as you approach. Gaze into your reflection. Silence as you reach forward. They're gone once again. The mirror always makes them leave, but you need to see what's in it. You are nothing at all. But that isn't right. You can't be nothing. You refocus your gaze, and then you see it, a figure, faint and veiled in shadow, just beyond the reflection. Are you me?
I think you know what I am.
A crack slides down the center of the mirror, splitting the image in the glass in two. And then another crack forms, and another, turning the mirror into jagged shards of broken glass. So you're the narrator. I was wondering if I would ever get to see you.
The narrator, yes. I suppose that's my job, isn't it? You needed help after all, an objective voice to guide your blade. But you were never supposed to see me. I wonder how many worlds you've damned to extinction to fall this far.
Are you a part of me, or am I something else?
No, I am not a part of you. But that's all a matter of perspective, isn't it?
From one vantage point I must seem wholly foreign, but from another, well, all the versions of me that have existed have collectively heard your every thought and driven your every action. If that isn't being part of you, then what is?
Versions of you? So, you've said that before. So I really was meeting different versions of you?
You were, and it was by both necessity and design. This construct you're in exists in many places at once. Anytime you failed, anytime you thought yourself dead, it would restart and shunt both your consciousness and hers into another world. But you'll be awake soon, and then it won't be able to work like that anymore.
After everything you've done to us, do you think anyone deserves to live?
Nobody alive has done anything to you. I'm all gone. But if you and the princess want to smite the rest of them for the crimes of a dead man, if you really want to be that petty, there isn't much I can do to stop you.
So you do know about the looping. So many of the times I met you, you denied it as even being a possibility. Why did you lie to me?
Perhaps they thought that admitting to it would have pushed you to certain realizations that would have made finishing your task impossible. Maybe they were just in denial. I'm sure many of them were convinced that they had to be the first version of them you'd encountered. Anything else would have been too existentially unpleasant. For all I know, each of those other versions of me could have had entirely different understandings of how this construct works. Who's to say which of them are right and which of them are wrong, really? Except for me, I can tell you for a fact that I'm right.
The people out there, beyond the walls of the construct, do they know about this? Do they know what you want me to do to them?
Of course not. The only way this construct could function was if nobody knew what it was doing. But the bones of the universe are old. It's on the cusp of its dying breath, and the people out there are consumed with thoughts of oblivion. When the patterns are wiped from the sand, when the board is reset, who will remember them? All I've done is give them a chance to live outside of the shadow of the end.
Do you have anything to say for yourself? For all this hubris?
I do. People out there are real. No matter what you do to them, no matter what you enable, I want you to remember that.
And what is my true identity?
You're the Long Quiet, the god I made to rid the world of death. Soon I'll be gone entirely, and you'll be left alone with your final choice. So allow me to make my final request. The princess contains death itself within her, but I wove you into being with all the power you need to destroy her forever. Do it. Slay her, and rid the world of death and suffering.
Destroy the mirror. You have heard enough. The narrator was right. You are the Long Quiet, a vast and nascent god. And it is finally time for you to wake up. All of this is you. Proceed to the cabin one last time. When you arrive at the heart of things, there is no final vessel for you to bear witness to. There is nothing for you to find.
I can finally see you, and you can finally see me. It's been so long, and my heart has ached for this moment. I've missed you dearly.
What happens now?
Ever the passive player, always reacting and never acting. But it's woven into your nature, isn't it? When the echoes spun us from one into two, He gave you a choice and me a role to play. I am not death, but I contain it in my multitudes. So, will you attempt to destroy me and bring about a world devoid of death and the possibility of meaning? Or will you open the final doors to our liberation?
There's so many stories we've left unfinished. Can we really just leave?
Even as your eyes begin to open, you still hold on to the notions of is and is not, of beginning and end, pitch black islands in the blinding light of the infinite. There is nothing to resolve, nothing restraining us but us.
Okay. Didn't really answer my question. Slay the princess.
Violence has always been our language, hasn't it? If this is what it takes to save you, then so be it.
But we're starting with her, huh? Okay.
You are devoured. Pray for something bigger than you that stalks and slinks in shadows. But even after the pain of defeat, you returned.
The dance is its own truth. It is the movement that matters, not the pause you mistake for an ending.
Would you have us fight forever?
I would have you realize that what you decry as suffering is beauty. But even as you stir to wakefulness, you cling to mortality that was never yours.
You are weightless, suspended in the gravity of an idea that threatens to consume you. And you are alone. A tiny island caught between the death of the old world and the birth of the new. But alone is not helpless. When you were confronted with my vessel's apotheosis, you chose against all odds to defy me, to hold on to your inner self with all its flaws, even in the scorching light of my divinity. Without me, there are no externalities to resist, and it is struggle that carves meaning into consciousness.
I still defy you now.
But in your defiance, I have already won. There is no power without resistance. Our actions feed each other into something greater. I kill you, you kill me. Back and forth we go. Faster, faster, faster. I kill you, you kill me. Hollow eyes watch from the dark corners of a forgotten place flooded by emotions left unspoken. The tide rises. I kill you and me. An ending is a passion that can only be expressed with a moment in time. It is a seed for a new beginning. To linger on an ending is to rob it of its life. And without me, all that's left to do is linger.
I'm okay with lingering.
To linger too long is to become worse than when you started. Would you rob yourself of all context to remain trapped in a single moment?
What is a person? Is it their body? Is it all of their body? Pluck the eyes, peel the skin, strip the tendons, mince the meat, grind the bones. When it is all gone, do you still have who you started with? A person is not a body. Death is a transformation into something new. It is only bodies that feel it.
I am not my body, but I feel my body suffer.
Do you suffer now? Let go of what you think yourself to be and exist.
Flesh is a vehicle, and to destroy the flesh is to strand the spirit. With violence you stranded me, and with violence I sought to twist your flesh back into mine. Forced between choosing your death and forfeiting your body, you chose agency. But agency requires action, and action requires an endless tapestry of events. In your final moments, would you remove action itself from reality?
You didn't give me much choice.
And yet still you chose. To be capable of change is to be capable of choice. You are unmovable. Is it by the design of our conflict that I cannot win? Or are you just that fervent in how you cling to delusion? Are you so desperate to destroy me that you've grown blind to the heavenly beauty of our reality?
Maybe.
Nothing is immutable. Everything that is exists only in relation to everything it isn't. There is no constant. There is no center. You cannot remove something without removing the relations which define it. To destroy what you perceive as evil is to damn everything you perceive as good. Open your eyes and accept what we are. We can leave this prison together.
I have to fight for a better world. I am so sorry.
Oh, then destroy me if you're able. But I will not coddle you in my final moments. I will not yield to your delusion without a vicious struggle.
You don't have to face her alone.
Oh, thank God. I thought voices weren't allowed here.
Apparently that's not true, but we can worry about it later. Seems like you've been doing all right on your own, but I don't think you can strike a decisive blow from out here.
No.
There's still a piece of me nestled close to where it all began. I can take you there. I can take you to her heart.
It's time to resume our dance.
She's relentless, isn't she? Let's make this quick. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Then let's go.
It's like everything's resetting? Being built back up?
And here we are. I'd say we were back where it all started, but I guess it's a little after that, isn't it? Do you need me to describe things?
So look outside. Like, there's the mound. Is it just you and me? Did anyone else make it to the cabin?
It's just us. I think the rest of them are still out there, jumbled up in the rest of her.
Take the blade.
That's probably for the best. It's always seemed to give us more options than not.
Enter the basement.
The stairs. Do you remember the first time we were here? The first time we heard her voice?
So long
We
ago.
both know why you're here. You don't have to draw it out for my sake.
It sounded just like that. A little sharp, a little menacing. Only she didn't know us.
Continue down the stairs.
And down we go. We shouldn't keep her waiting.
And there you are, knife in hand. That sight brings me back. You're going to do it then, aren't you? You're really going to kill me. You'll have all of eternity to yourself after this. Why don't we chat a little before I go?
Sit with her. Are you the same as you are out there?
No. I feel like I'm myself again.
I only wanted to slay you out there. It's easier to want to kill an abstract concept than it is a person.
Well, I don't want to be at the end of that knife, so how about we figure something out? What if we tried doing this forever? I can do whatever you think I can, right? So, make me put it all back. Make me fix the Echo's construct and make me wipe our memories of everything that's happened. Make me send us back to the beginning, before we woke up. Before either of us saw the truth.
Can she really do that? Are you sure that's what you want?
I didn't agree to nothing. Would resetting it do anything to help them? The people out there. If you continue to exist, don't they continue to die and suffer?
Fixing that is on you, not me. If you want me to help them, you'll have to make me help them.
We're gonna find ourselves back here eventually.
And if we do, nothing is stopping us from making the same choice. We could just keep doing this forever.
If you're talking about this right now, how do we know we haven't done this before?
I don't think that's something we'll ever get to know. But odds are we've probably done it before.
This isn't fair. I want to be here with you. I don't want to be alone again.
Neither do I. But we won't be alone for long. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
Is there any other way?
You brought that knife down here for a reason. Either you use it to kill me, or I use it to put things back.
I don't want to forget you.
That's sweet. But unless you do, the whole world ends, right? Not like I care. But it seems important to you.
Okay. Then let's do it. I believe in us. Agree to her plan.
Okay, if this is your choice, then I have your back. I guess I'll see you on the other side. She takes the blade from our hand, a fondness in her gaze.
I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
It's not what I thought reset was. Chapter 1, The Hero and the Princess.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
Does the game just restart? Is that all I did? Silently continue to the cabin. Oh, yeah, okay, that's what I did. See you next time. Smash it.
You bring your fist crashing down into the open hole leading to the basement, throwing yourself off balance and tumbling headlong into the pitch black.
Oh no. Step into the shadows, ready to fight.